Okay, so you know how sometimes you just kind of daydream about, like, effortlessly speaking English?
Totally.
It's got to be like a superpower, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could unlock all these conversations, movies, music, the whole world, but then you remember those grammar books?
Yeah.
And it all feels just way too much.
I've been there.
So what if I told you that you're already like this amazing language learning machine? You just don't realize it yet.
Well, and that's what's kind of cool about this guide, How to Learn English by Yourself.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we learn new words in our native language like every day until we're middle-aged.
Seriously.
It just happens.
I guess so. You don't see like grown-ups walking around with flashcards.
Right.
So what's the secret? How do we make our brains do that with English?
Well, that is where this guide gets really interesting. It says it's not about becoming fluent. It's more about setting the right goals right from the beginning.
Goals? Okay. I'm all about a good goal, but what does that even mean for learning a language?
So think about it. Do you want to be able to like travel around or just chat with your neighbor?
Yeah.
Or maybe give a big presentation at work in English? Those all need totally different levels of, fluency.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think I do that thing where I picture like perfect English instead of what I actually need it for.
Exactly. And the guide says before you even open up a textbook, you have to figure out your why.
Okay.
Like, is it travel? Maybe you have a big English test coming up. Or do you just want to understand what your in-laws are saying? This whole deep dive is about figuring out your goals and then finding the fastest way to reach them.
Okay, I like it. So ditch the one-size-fits-all thing and get down to business.
Exactly.
And this guide actually has like a whole 8-step plan, which I love a good plan.
Yes.
Lay it out for me. I'm there.
Structure is key when you're feeling lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this guide is full of creative ways to learn, so it feels less like homework and more like fun.
Okay, now you're talking my language. Let's hear it. 8-step plan. What's step 1?
So first, we figure out where you're at right now. The guide says to take a placement test, like before you even think about materials.
So like a little pre-game warm-up.
Kind of.
Okay.
More like calibrating your compass before a big hike, right?
Okay.
You wouldn't just start walking in any direction, would you?
Yeah.
So this step is about knowing your strengths and weaknesses so you can tailor your learning.
Oh, that's smart. I've definitely done that thing where I jump into a new language and I'm like, I don't know anything.
It happens.
Mm.
But there are so many free placement tests online now.
Oh, cool.
You can figure out your level in a few minutes.
No excuses then. So we know where we're starting. Let's get the show on the road. Okay, so we've got our compass all calibrated. We know where we're at. What's next?
So step 2 is building those core skills, And I'll be honest, at first I was like, really? We're doing this.
All right. Back to basics.
But the guide makes a good point. It's actually really important.
Okay, convince me. Why spend time on the simple stuff when we want to learn fast?
Imagine building a house, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't start with like fancy lights and countertops before you even have walls.
Yeah, not a good look.
Exactly. So those basic grammar rules, the everyday words, they're the foundation. The guide talks about how those simple exercises, even if they're kind of boring, they build like muscle memory.
Okay, so no jumping ahead to the fun idioms yet.
Okay, yeah.
All right, fine. You've convinced me, strong foundation and all that. But can we talk about the fun stuff? What about immersion?
Yes.
Okay.
Step 3 is where things get fun.
Yeah.
This is about making English part of your life, even if you don't live in, an English-speaking country.
I've tried that whole changing my phone settings to English thing.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's a start. But this guide takes it way further. It's like finding those little ways to use English all day long. Like, what's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Hit snooze on my alarm, probably twice. Fair enough. But what if, instead of hitting snooze, you listen to like a 5-minute English podcast? Or even just change the language on your alarm clock.
Okay, that I could probably manage. Small step.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be this big thing. Listen to music in English while you're making dinner, Or watch a quick YouTube video with subtitles, of course.
Yeah.
Even, and this is kind of funny, but eavesdrop on how English speakers try to speak your language.
Oh, that's smart.
You can learn a lot about grammar that way.
Because they always mess it up.
Yeah. It's all about those small moments adding up over time.
Okay, I like it. Little micro moments of English.
Yeah, like training a muscle.
Okay. So much to try. But where do we even begin? It's easy to get overwhelmed.
Well, that's where the guide shines. It gives you these very specific techniques, and it explains why they work. Like, one thing it focuses on is speaking practice.
Well, yeah. I mean, isn't that kind of the whole point?
Yeah.
To actually speak it?
Right. But it's more than just saying, oh, speaking is good. There's this study in 2016. It compared different learning methods.
Okay.
And the students who, like, really focused on speaking, especially online, they made way faster progress than those who just used textbooks.
Really? So ditch the books and just chat with someone.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And the cool part is, we know why it works. When you're speaking, you're pulling up words from your brain. You're using grammar in real time. It's active, you know.
That makes sense. Like reading about playing guitar versus actually jamming with someone.
Exactly.
All right, more speaking, less passive studying. What else? Okay, so less textbook, more talking. Got it. But not everyone has a conversation buddy on speed dial, right? What do we do when we're not ready to, like, unleash our English on the world just yet?
Well, that's where the guide's next suggestion comes in handy. Sentence mining.
Sentence mining.
Yeah. You know those giant vocabulary lists?
Ugh, yeah, the worst.
So many words. This is different. Instead of just words, you learn whole phrases. It's way better.
So instead of memorizing, like, 100 separate words, I learn them in, like, actual sentences.
Exactly. You're learning the grammar without even realizing it, the rhythm, all that good stuff.
So it's like a shortcut to sounding more natural.
Totally. You pick up on those little things that make you sound more like less like a textbook.
Okay, I'm into it. Sentence mining, noted. What else?
This next one surprised me. The guide talks about, get this, writing things down by hand.
Like with a pen and paper? In this economy?
I know, right? But there's something about it. Studies show that when you physically write something, it helps your brain remember it way better.
Huh. So it's not just me being old school.
Nope. Our brains just work differently when we ditch the keyboard.
Okay, fine. I'll dust off my notebook. But all this awesome advice, it kind of makes you realize how many different apps and websites and things are out there. It's overwhelming.
It totally is. That's why we picked out a few of the guide's recommendations to help you get started. Keep it simple.
Okay, yeah, give us the highlights. What's first?
Well, for actual speaking practice, you can't beat Preply. It's an app that connects you with online tutors.
Online tutors, so you can practice anytime.
Exactly. And you get to choose your tutor, so you find someone who fits, your style.
Okay, I like it. What about something a little more budget-friendly?
For sure. If you're all about the vocab, try Quizlet. It's free, and it turns learning new words into, get this, games.
Wait, hold up. Games. Okay, you've got my attention.
Right. So much more fun than flashcards.
A million times more fun. What if I want to squeeze in some practice while I'm, like, working out or something?
You probably already have this one. Spotify?
Spotify for language learning.
Podcasts. There are tons of amazing podcasts just for English learners. They explain things clearly. They go a little slower. Plus, you can always just listen to music in English too, right?
Oh, smart. Okay, love it. What's our last hidden gem?
If you're more of a reader, there's Bilingual. This app shows you texts in English and your native language side by side.
Ooh, like a built-in translator.
Exactly. It makes it easier to compare and see how the languages work together.
Okay, I have to say, I am feeling way more prepared to tackle this whole English thing now.
Awesome. That's what we like to hear.
But before we wrap up, one last little deep dive challenge for you all. You up for it?
Get me.
Remember how we talked about needing around 800 words for basic fluency? That's like the magic number. What if every day you learned just 10 new words?
10. That's doable.
Right. Small steps, big results.
That's our motto.
So there you have it, folks. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, 10 words a day. Who's with us?
We believe in you. And remember, learning a language is a journey. It takes time. Be kind to yourself. Have fun. You got this.
You heard it here first. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, happy learning.